things were going on in my brain, which I couldn't quite understand. I knew something was wrong, but I didn't know what it was. And I found myself, for someone with such a strong mindset, getting triggered very easily. I live in Northern Ireland now. And although Irish people are very nice people when they've had a few drinks, doing business in the north of Ireland is very different to the rest of the UK. Very different. And I'm used to working in London, which is multicultural. People of different diversities and ethnicities coming together. It's wonderful. And in Northern Ireland, it's just a sea of white faces. And every time I talk to people about having myself as a speaker at these events, I get ignored. And that upsets me, because in Northern Ireland, people will hire their friends rather than people who can do the job properly, which ironically is a lot like politics, but that's how
different podcast.
Different podcast. But I find myself getting really triggered and upset about this, really depressed, thinking I'm getting constantly rejected. I'm the only LinkedIn top voice here. I'm a TEDx speaker. I've written 3 books, 2 of which went big internationally. I speak around the world, and I can't even get a speaking slot at a local conference. Nobody will even acknowledge my existence. And that really upset me. And I found myself getting really upset. And a few friends of mine who are counselors said, we're convinced you have ADHD. And a few of them said, we think you have autism as well. So I got tested, and unfortunately ADHD went off the scale. And I went and saw my GP, and I went and saw a counselor, and he goes, by the way, you definitely have autism as well. We're convinced about it. And because my nephew is 11 years old, non-verbal autistic, he's special needs in a special needs school. He only stopped wearing a nappy 6 months ago. He's 11 years old. The word autism is a very strong word in our family. We've really had to kind of cope and come to terms with taking care of a child 24 hours a day. And it's brought tremendous stress in our family, but at the same time, tremendous love. That my beautiful, beautiful cousin, he's a great kid. Sorry, my beautiful nephew, great kid. And it's been a tremendous learning experience. But at the same time, the word autism terrifies me, because that's what I think of autism. And at the same time, the people I know who have ADHD, they also have insomnia. They all have various meds and prescription meds they're on. And most of them don't live really healthy lives. And I went to major panic mode, and my brain melted. And that profoundly affected my business, because I stopped prospecting and I lost a lot of my confidence.
And this is interesting. So this is real world stuff. And what you're sharing with us is why we just really believe this, that if you want to achieve greater levels of success outwardly, you got to look inside. You have to. And hey, thank you for sharing, because what you just shared resonates with me, deeply, because what you just shared, we're walking through here in my family as well. And I applaud you for it. But the first word that comes to mind is mask wearing. And the reason why I'm going down this road, Niraj, is we all wear masks, but when we can really unpack who we are, we can remove some of those. And I know you've gone through that. You've gone through it immensely. Is just walk us through what you're starting to learn about yourself. That's because there's a word I just keep going back to, is confidence. And if we can go inward to really unpack who we are and why we do what we do, this helps build our confidence.
Well, one of the things I love most, there's quite a number of things I love from your book, Selling from the Heart. And I've gifted so many copies of that to my clients in 2021, 2022, because it's that good a book. And you talk about self-awareness. Yeah. And self-awareness is one of the most important things you can have. But here's the thing, in 2022 and 2023, I was so proud of myself because I was so self-aware. But in 2024, I kind of stopped reading philosophy. I stopped reading Stoicism. I thought, because there's always a danger. You think, well, how much more can I really learn? And you have to understand you're always learning, and you're always getting better, and you're always having to progress. Because if you don't do that, you're in serious trouble. And when you have something going on, it's very important to acknowledge it, not to panic, and to ask for help. And by the way, the same rules go in sales as well. At the moment, 75% of sales reps are not hitting target. That's a shockingly high number. And yet when I ask most of them what they're doing, they blame their managers. They blame the company commission structure. But very few of them are self-aware enough to actually invest in a coach to help them. I mean, I find that incredible. So really becoming self-aware is key. Asking for help is key. I invested in a counselor which was very important. I pay every week for that. And I also understood my triggers and what triggers me and what upsets me. And, unfairness triggers me. Not being included and not being respected triggers me. Because as human beings, we all want to have our voices heard. And when you believe you've got to a certain position in life where you've made all these achievements and people are still not recognizing them, internationally people do. I mentioned to you in the pre-chat, I've been to Dublin last week. It was amazing. They were so welcoming. I was in London the week before. It was incredible. I was a judge at the Women Leader Awards. I was speaking about LinkedIn. It was just incredible. Whereas in the small town in Ireland where I live, I get rejected all the time. And it's about acknowledging that. And I was told something very important, which is you cannot control the outcomes. You can only control the inputs. And that's one of the most valuable lessons that I wish I learned 30 years ago. Only that I really understand now is I have zero control over the outcomes, but I have all the sort of awareness and control over the effort I put in, but also how I react to things that come my way.